All right, it has been a minute since I've done one of these, an actual book review. I actually read a book for once. Now, it's just half of this book. I'm still halfway through it, but it's The Sorcerer and the Cygnet. Yeah, The Sorceress and the Cygnet. Excuse the glare there. So I've not yet read The Cygnet and the Firebird, but I just got done reading it. It's by Patricia A. McKillop, and great author. I've read a couple of her other books. Beasts of Eld, I believe, is absolute masterpiece. But um, this book was it was hard for me to get into it. Oh, look at this cover. Like, dang. I mean, when are we gonna get to that? That must be the second part of the book. Spoilers. Um, there's the back of the book. So yeah. Anyways, I read this over the course of like I want to say 3 or 4 months. I finally just powered through it just recently. Within the last 2 days, I must have read, I bet you 200 pages of this. It's the whole book consists of 210 pages. So I bet I've been before I had like 50 pages down. It's a hard one to get into because mainly I don't really understand what was going on the whole time. So in my words, let me break it down what I think was going on. Um, our main character and dude, McKillop, Miss McKillop, like you got to pick some better names here. Corleo. I'm gonna butcher every one of these names. I actually had to look one of them up, and even now, I still don't think it's right. Um, and I hate it, to be honest. I hate the name, but I think it's Corleo. It sounds so weird saying it out loud. Corlu. It's a name I've never heard before. Corleu. Now Corlu, just forgive the butchering, but Corlu is a backwater moon brain of a human, just a country bumpkin, and he always he's like the storyteller of his village, to put it bluntly, always talking about the constellations, and that's this is before technology, so he's always telling stories of the stars and how they came to be and the constellations and how, just like they did back in the old days. And so he's with his village. They end up in a in a weird area. This village, they're like nomads. They're constantly traveling to. I think it's like they've got set destinations for the summer or winter, but this time they wanted to go to a different place. I think it was the Delta. It's been a while, but I think they wanted to go to the Delta, and lo and behold, they're on their way there, and Quilio, um, is with them, and they keep seeing the same thing over and over again once they get to this part of like the swamp or something, wherever they're at, and basically they get stuck in time in this fever dream of a place, and there's no way out until Corlu, whatever. I'm just gonna I can't make up my mind on how I want to say it. He stumbles upon a house with the signs of the constellation of the Gold King. Enters the house. The Gold King gives him a task of finding the Cygnet's heart. But in order to do that, he's got to keep talking to these other constellations, mystical beings, and that's the whole book, is him making this quest to try to find the Cygnet's heart. I didn't know what a Cygnet was. I had to look that up. It's a bird. Um, so he meets so the journey consists of the Gold King, which was cool, but it's just, I don't know if it was the imagery. It was just a hard thing to grasp everything in this book. I got an idea. Like the Tink, he's also known as the Tinker, but he's got a black shack with the lentil gold star. The walls are stars. The handle's a blue star or something like that. But then he has to meet, gosh, the blind lady, the dancer, and the fire bear, and then the warlock, blood fox. But to do this, he incorporates the help of a witch named Nyx, who is a daughter of the Holder. Now, the Holder and the Hold signs, I still maybe it's just the verbiage. I don't really know. They're so confusing. Like Holder of the House of Hold. It still confuses me to think about. I think I understand the gist of it, but not enough to explain. Like the Hold sign, I think that's just like the house symbol, maybe the house sign of this is the Cygnet, the emblem, maybe, and then the row holder are the house that holds that sign. I'm thinking, just very kind of confusing. Um, Especially since I didn't read it all relatively quickly. I had to actually go back and read the part where Corleo is explaining these signets, or not signets, hold signs, these constellations, so I could just remember what they were about. But taking the fact that maybe I do understand all of it, possibly, still not sure, but after just finishing it, I want to say I enjoyed it. I believe I enjoyed it. Yes. The end fight, I don't. The ending, not end fight, but the ending, I had to look up. I don't really understand what happened. Um. Yeah, but let's leave it there for a second. A lot to get in. Just there's a lot. Especially when you don't understand something. The journey itself, I enjoyed. Basically, I enjoyed the fact that he has a goal. He's kind of forced to do something he's not really sure how to do or wants to do, because the love of his life has been kidnapped in this never land of a place, and he needs to get his whole village out of there. So he needs to save them. So he's basically at the mercy of the Gold King, who wants the heart of the Cygnet, but he can't tell anybody that, or else he won't be able to find it. So he enlists Nyx, and I really enjoyed Nyx. I still don't quite have an image of her. Young, I think she had like black hair, but just like lacked empathy, and kind of was not apathetic. What's the word I'm looking for? Just kind of like losing her humanity. So she was just how you would imagine a witch, except beautiful. And we learn about her history, or her story, and then we learn about her mom, and then her siblings, which were Iris, who has no powers, and then Calyx, which I enjoyed. I like that name. I'm a big fan of the names with X's in them. I think they're pretty cool. Or what? Yeah, Calyx and Nyx, and then Iris, and then the Holder. I don't remember if we know her name, but then the one name that another character that we come across about in the middle of this book is someone called Megeut. And I looked I'm sorry, I spelled that wrong. Meguet. Meguet. Couldn't tell you. I looked it up, and it could mean Lily of the Valley, and it could also mean Muge. Muge. Hate it. I hate saying that. Muge. Literally Moogay. Muge. Meg-et? Maybe it's Meg-et. Meg-et? Meg-et? I don't know if it's French. I don't know. I don't understand. Like, we need an index of how to pronounce these names. Meg-et? Whatever, dude. I'm just gonna embarrass myself saying it, Meg-et. Anyways, we meet her midway through. Don't really know what her story is until almost the middle of we find out that she's a guardian and she's like the direct she's not really the antagonist, but she's the foil, not foil, I don't know, maybe that's the wrong word, but she's like the opposition, whereas Corleo is wanting to find the Cygnet's heart and basically free the or destroy the Cygnet or something. If he does that, he frees all the other constellations because they're all being held down by this bird. Meanwhile, Miguel, whatever, shut up, wants to. She's a guardian with powers that she does not yet know she has, and she doesn't really know how to unlock them. She just knows that in her heart she needs to protect the Cygnet in the house. So, yeah, a very yeah, as someone who's not very good at explaining things, it's the book does it justice. I would recommend just reading it. There's three different sections of the book. First one is Corleo meeting Nyx and unlocking and finding hints, meeting a couple of the constellations, finding hints on how to find the heart of the bird. The second part is Muget's story, Meg-et's story. Meg-et sounds better. Meg-et sounds like a name, but I'm English, so Meg-et. Finding the middle of the story is her and figuring out who she is and her powers, and then the ending, which is rather short, the third act is the heart of the Cygnet, finding the Cygnet and unlocking the heart, and then the ending fight, which let's just talk about it for a second. I don't quite understand how it happened. I had to read. I actually had to look this up. That someone's idea. I couldn't even formulate this idea on my own because basically, the fight happens in this maze of time near this crypt of like 1,000-year-old wizard that died and buried himself under Row Castle, and but this fight happened in this his tomb area, and like all of the constellations, the ones I mentioned before, the dancer, the oh god, I'm getting mixed up now. The first one he unlocked, the first one he talked to, which was just give me a minute. I know the dancer, the fire bear, the gold king, and then the blind lady, and then the warlock. They were all there with Corleo, egging him on to find this thing so they could be free, find the heart of the Cygnet so he could be free. So they could be free. And then so he's down there, and then next thing you know, Nyx is there, and she holds a prism of some sort, holds the eye of the Cygnet, and then Meg-et is there, and she's fighting the constellations that are like in human form, and then Nyx is fighting the constellations. Corleo goes down, and then Nyx saves him as she's about to get impaled by us. She saves him, and then it's like they all get up and walk away, and it's like, yeah, that's it. We did our job. Like, next thing you know, the Gold King like released his shackles. The blind lady threw off her ring, and I thought it was a bad thing in the beginning that they all were going to be set free, but that's not the case. So maybe it's in the second part, the second book. I don't know. Like, so someone said, I was reading since I had to look it up, what happened? Like, I understand there was a big fight of magic, and by the way, I just want to say I think this could be a really cool movie. Like, I think all of these could be like old school fantasy adventure movies for sure. Like why have none of these been made? Anyways, but they made like so they all got released, but like reading this comment, someone formulated the fact that maybe like their whole plan the whole time was for Nyx to find her heart, and because she's basically sacrificed herself, didn't sacrifice, but fell in front of the sword to protect Quileo, that she unlocked her heart and is no longer a danger to the hold. So I like it's just confusing. I'd love someone like who's good at explaining things to kind of explain what happened. But I think that was their goal the whole time, was to they weren't necessarily bad. That was because I think there was a line in there about something about like it's just stories. So I don't think they were necessarily bad. It's just like the stories that were told. So them being released wasn't a bad thing, because I think the Gold King comes up later on at the gate or something. But yeah, just kind of confusing ending. I don't really. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the idea of the constellations, and this book kind of reminded me of the Beasts of Eld, and how she had to track all the beasts that were missing. Corleo had to find all the constellations and ask them for a favor, and solve the riddle. So, I mean, it was good. Muge having the relationship with the gatekeeper, just kind of thrown in there. I don't really know. Like she kind of, I guess she was a main character. She didn't really feel like it. Like the whole center of the book basically revolved around Nyx and Corleo and their whole thing. And then I don't know, characters weren't bad. I mean, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed Nyx and Corleo, just kind of getting dragged along and didn't really have a choice. And then the only way he could get there was through Nyx, who's an all-powerful witch. And then what else? Am I missing anything else? No, I'm excited to read the next one. Just because I can't leave a book like half. I still got half of it to go. But the next one, the Cygnet and the Firebird. I'm interested in what the Firebird is. The Cygnet, pretty sure, like I said, it's just a bird, like a swan of some sort, maybe. So yeah, I don't know. I like the way McKillop writes. I like her prose. Um, I mean, who thinks of like living Oh no, who thinks of like living, like talking to the constellations and getting favors out of them? It's just hard to picture some of the imagery, but I enjoyed it. The fire bear was cool. The warlock, and how she like summoned them with the molding of the sand and having what was it, like a sphere of blood or something over the fire right there. There was that. But overall, I mean, good book, no complaints. If I miss anything, let me know. I will definitely be reading. Once I got into it, it went fast, just like everything. I like the fantasy aspect of it all. And oh my god, I forgot the best part. There was a happy ending. Oh, drop my mic. There was a happy ending. So after the fight, lo and behold, Corleo couldn't leave because the holder, the queen of the castle, couldn't leave, or the holder told Corleo that he couldn't leave because I guess she was gonna like interrogate him, find out the whole story, which I really would have enjoyed. Like, I really wanted a concrete story from one of their perspectives on like what actually happened. That would have been, but I think it's left to our imagination on how everything went. Maybe, but anyways, so the another hold is visiting another castle or something. Sigil was visiting, and they do their thing, and but next thing you know, the Tile, the girl that Corleo wanted to free, she met the Gold King, and Gold King said basically Corleo's probably at that row holding, so she ends up walking through the door, and I'm like, all right, good, happy ending. Everyone lived happily ever after. So yeah, it's been long enough here. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you had the same confusion as I do, if I understood it correctly, if I didn't understand it correctly, I'd love to know. And then yeah, I will. I'll be reading the next one here. Hopefully, it doesn't take me 6 months to get through. I guess we'll see. Until next time.